Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, One Platform, Multiple Solutions, Automation for Radio. My name is Danny Tankersley, VP of Radio Sales, and I'm excited to be hosting this session today with Dub Urban, VP of Radio Automation. So without further ado, I'd like to kick things off. Again, I'm Danny Tankersley, Vice President of Sales at Wide Orbit. Before joining Wide Orbit in 2006, I was a Group Sales Manager at Wix Broadcast Solutions. I have over 25 years of enterprise technology and media experience, and I'm fully dedicated to helping broadcasters find the best solutions to keep their businesses moving forward. Joining me today is William Dub Urban, and he's worked in radio since 1986 and is Vice President and Chief Architect of Wide Orbit Automation for Radio. In radio, Dub worked on air, in engineering, and served as traffic manager. He's pretty much done it all. In 1990, Dub Station was the first station to install Computer Concepts DCS, the first viable PC-based radio automation system. Dub was responsible for the DCS rollout at all 12 of his company's radio stations. In 1991, Dub moved to the vendor side, working first at Computer Concepts and later Scott Studios, and was heavily involved with the launch of DCS, Maestro, and SS32 products. Prior to joining Wide Orbit, Dub held a similar role at Google and was responsible for the 2008 launch of the award-winning Google Radio Automation, which is now Wide Orbit Automation for Radio. And we'll take a look at our agenda now. Who is Wide Orbit? We'll provide a little information on our company, meeting the challenge. Broadcasters face unprecedented challenges these days, and we'll address some of those. Our product, of course, we'll be discussing Wide Orbit Automation for Radio today. And at the end, again, we'll be addressing your questions. In 1999, Wide Orbit was founded with a vision: make it easier to buy and sell advertising. Since then, Wide Orbit's become the leader in premium broadcast technology and the largest sell-side processor of premium advertising in the world, covering the broadcast assortment of media, and our vision remains the same. We put our clients first and believe that our growth is limited only by customer satisfaction. 2/3 of the top 20 radio groups run on Wide Orbit. More than $37 billion in ad revenue is managed annually, and 2,600 stations already use Wide Orbit Automation for Radio. Wide Orbit Automation for Radio is North America's leading radio automation system. We combine power, ease of use, and unmatched integrations to help radio stations of all sizes sound great every minute of the day. And now I'll turn it over to Dub for his presentation.
Well, thank you very much, Danny. It's really great to have everyone with you today. I've been looking at the attendee list. We have many long-term customers who are also personal friends with us today. We have numerous people that don't currently have our product, so we'd like to thank you very much for your interest. Tenemos con nosotros el día de hoy amigos en México, bienvenidos, et de plus, j'aimerais souhaiter le bienvenue à nos amis en Québec. We'll start with an overview for those who are not already familiar with WO Automation for Radio, and then we'll talk about what's new for those who already have our product in view of the fact that we have such a diverse audience with us today. Today's radio broadcasters operate in a difficult environment, and they need a reliable system that meets business requirements today and tomorrow. So you need, as the industry has changed, the world has changed, your automation system needs to change with you. You need support from a strong company that will be here long term, rather than a company that's, doesn't have a lot of diversity and maybe can't weather storms. You've got to manage your costs, of course. But also today, you really need to run multiple radio stations with limited staff. You need to run those stations from anywhere, even from home or far away. And all the while, you have to deliver a compelling product to your audience and your advertisers. WO Automation for Radio has been proven to do these things. Our platform is very scalable. We have many customers who have just one station and one studio, but we also have installations today where over 100 radio stations are supported out of a single system, or we have systems where over 60 studios are supported by our system, and those studios can cover large geographic areas. Our system is stable. It's designed for 24/7, 365 operation with real-time recovery from failures. Our system is backed by a large team of support professionals with an average of 11 years of experience. And of course, we do offer 24/7, 365 support, emergency support, just like you're in operation 24/7, 365. Our product is robust. It's proven for programming formats in any size markets, including professional sports head-ins. We have systems in use at top stations in New York, Los Angeles, and Toronto, including stations, and as well as stations serving local communities from coast to coast. We manage the broadcast for professional sports teams such as the Toronto Blue Jays and the Baltimore Ravens. We also support niche formats like classical stations, which are known for having very large libraries in cities like Chicago and Auckland. And of course, if you're an NPR station, you'd like to know that we operate the NPR affiliates in cities like Washington, D.C. and Los Angeles. Some of the benefits of WO automation for radio include the ability to reduce costs. You can save operating costs with a radio station automation system that can be managed remotely from any device. We can also help you improve efficiency by integrating with other systems that you use every day. Some of the key features of WO automation for radio for those who are new to the product include that we're an intuitive touchscreen-based system. And of course, you can use the system with a mouse, but we think we have a great user experience using a touchscreen, our system supports either way. Our system supports fully live, fully automated, or any combination of programming format. Voice tracking, of course, we know is a very key component of radio today, and we offer a robust voice tracking options, and you have no limit to the number of future days you can voice track. For complex speech-based formats, we offer powerful automation for complex speech-based formats, and our system can be used with any traffic system or music scheduler. But you can unlock greater power by using with Wide Orbit's WO traffic. If you use Wide Orbit automation for radio and Wide Orbit traffic, the traffic manager can make changes to the commercial playlist right up to airtime and send those changes straight to the system without having to involve anyone else. We offer real-time reconciliation and metadata and run date synchronization. We also offer a deep integration with Music Master. If you're using our system with Music Master, you get all the same benefits as using it with WO traffic, but we also offer the automatic creation of song cards, further reducing the work needed to run your radio stations. Additional features for WO automation for radio are 3 different kinds of remote voice tracking options, because of course remote voice tracking is super important these days. We offer a full integration with Adobe Audition. This integration allows you to record content directly in Adobe Audition and create a finalized product that you can send straight to the automation system without having to touch it again or having to manually ingest it. And this also helps you save on production licenses. A feature of WO automation for radio is a feature called Playlist Editor. Playlist Editor allows you to edit your playlists from anywhere without an expensive additional license. Similarly, we offer library maintenance without an expensive additional license. Our platform is integrated with 20 other products that you probably use every day, further streamlining your work and creating efficiency for you. And WO automation for radio is the product of a financially strong company that does not compete with its own customers for listeners or advertising revenue. So let's have a look at some of the basics of WO automation for radio. WO automation for radio is designed to be user-friendly and easy to use. What we have in front of us right now is our radio client application. Radio client is the application that is used by your DJs or other staff to exert control over your radio station. We'll just look at some of the basics of the system. The screen can be laid out however your users want them to be. I've configured my screen so that I have the items that I need to run my shift on the screen in the positions that I want. Across the bottom of the screen, there are different buttons that allow me to select different controls in the automation system. So let's start by looking first at what's on the left side of the screen. We call this the stack. Some automation systems call it a sequencer. At the top, you can see the item that's on the air and a countdown timer of the time remaining. You can see the system is in automatic mode, which means that when the item that's on the air is finished, the next item will begin automatically. If I'm the DJ and, for example, after Part-Time Lover is finished, if I want to talk, all I have to do is click this button, and now the system is in manual mode, and you'll notice that the stack items have changed. Now, when this song is finished in 20 seconds, the system will stop and allow me to talk. If I change my mind, I just click again, and now the system will be back in automatic mode, and so now when Stevie Wonder is finished, the Text Your Friends promo will begin, and then we'll begin a stop set with these 2 items in it. Then the music will resume. If I have the appropriate user privileges, I have the ability to make changes in the stack. For example, if I want to rearrange the order of these 2 spots, I can just click the first item that I want to move, Virginia Tourism, and click the position where I want it to be moved to. And now I've reversed the order of these 2 commercials in this commercial break. If I have the appropriate privileges, I can also click the delete button and delete any item in the stack. I can also click the preview button to listen to any item without broadcasting it. For example, if I click the preview button and I click Friday I'm in Love by The Cure, now this item is playing in my headphones without being broadcast, and that allows me to listen to the song so that I can become familiar with it. I can also click any position in the timeline to listen to that point of the song. I can also listen to the item that's on the air. For example, if I want to listen to the end of the Virginia Tourism spot, I can click the headphones icon and click Virginia Tourism, and now I can listen to any part of this spot without broadcasting it. I can also look on the left side of the screen, the right side of the screen, and see the playlist. The playlist allows me to look as far in advance as I want to see any items that are scheduled in the playlist later today or any point as far in the future as I have scheduled the system. In the playlist window, I can make edits to the playlist as well. I can move items around, I can delete items, I can insert items if I have the appropriate privileges. But one of the other things that I can do is I can access our seg editor. For example, if I want to view and edit the seg of these 3 songs, I just select them and then I click the seg button. Now the seg button appears, the seg editor appears, and I can see the seg of these 3 items. I can adjust the timing of any of these items on the timeline just by moving them around, and I can also optimize the audio level of the transition. So for example, as you can see, I'm now starting I Want to Know What Love Is earlier in the liner, and I'm adjusting the audio level so that this song will fade up. Of course, this is a non-destructive edit that is used only when these 3 items play on the air at this time. I also have the opportunity to look at the library. The library allows me to find any content for broadcast. It operates with a search. For example, if I enter the word Madonna, I see all of the content in my system that has the word Madonna in it. I can further refine my search by putting in additional keywords, just like you would in Google. So now that I've entered the word Madonna and like, I have two pieces of content that have both of those words available in their metadata. If I see a song I'm interested in, I can click it and I can click info to get more information about that song. For example, the last time that the song played and the next time it's scheduled. I can preview it to make sure it's the song that I want just by clicking the preview button. And if it is a song I want to play, I can insert it into the stack just by clicking it and then clicking the desired position in the playlist. Of course, this is all accessible and controllable by user rights. So of course, if you don't want your operators to be able to insert music into the library, it's perfectly possible to restrict that by user privileges. Of course, our system also offers hotkeys. Every automation system offers it, but it's a super important part. These are instant play buttons that allow you to play any content just by clicking on the screen. So here's a sound effect with Bugs Bunny on it. I click it, and as you can see, there is a sweep countdown showing the amount of time remaining. If I start a hotkey and I don't want it to continue, I can click it again and it will fade out. I can have any number of hotkeys that I want on the screen. So for example, if I want to insert a hotkey into the screen, I just come to my library window and let's search for hotkeys. Let's find Mo Broadcasting. I'm going to select that, and if I want to add it to a hotkey, all I have to do is now put the hotkey widget into edit mode. And now I have some what I like to call crop circles on the screen. So if I click the large circle in the middle of the hotkey, that will replace the existing hotkey with the hotkey that I selected in the library widget. It takes the metadata from that media asset, so it's Mo Broadcasting, and it took the duration, which is 1 second. And now I can customize that hotkey just by double-clicking it. For example, I can change the size of the letters. I can change the background color if I want, and I can change the foreground color if I want as well. So now this one really stands out when I look at it. And now, of course, it's ready to broadcast just by clicking on it. You may have noticed that we have a limited number of hotkeys on this screen, but our system supports an unlimited number of hotkeys on the screen. For example, if I want to add more hotkeys to this screen, I return to edit mode and I come back to my library widget. Now I can select another media asset from my library and then return to my hotkey screen, and I can look at my circles again. If I click one of the circles that's between two hotkeys, that will create either a new row or a new column of hotkeys. So let's click in this position. When I do that, you'll notice that the hotkeys on the screen all got smaller, and shaken not stirred got inserted in this position. And now there's an empty space here where I can insert another hotkey. So let's go back and do that. We'll grab that silly and we'll insert it in that position. And now you can see that I've quickly added more hotkeys to the screen. Of course, there are multiple pages of hotkeys available as well. And the hotkeys, as you can see, can be any kind of size that you want. And there can be an unlimited number of hotkeys for each user. Now let's talk about voice tracking. Voice tracking is a super important part of today's automation, as we know. Our system supports two kinds of voice tracking. One is where the DJ has the rights to insert a voice track into the playlist at any position that they want. So let's scroll down and find a good position where there are two songs back to back. Here's let's see, here's a good spot. So we'll click Insert Voice Track in this position, and we'll insert a voice track between Dead or Alive and Huey Lewis in the News. It's taken my name and applied it to the voice track so we know who it is. And now in order to record the voice track, all I have to do is click the voice track and click Edit Voice Track. Our voice track widget opens up and the voice tracks appear in the order that I inserted them. And you'll notice that there's the songs You Spin Me Round, followed by Hip to Be Square with my voice track in the middle. There are two checkboxes on the left side of the voice tracks. These checkboxes link the song to the voice track. So for example, if I am backselling You Spin Me Round like a record, then I can click this checkbox and that will link the voice track to the song. If the song is unable to play for whatever reason, the system will prevent the voice track from playing also so that you can prevent an on-air embarrassment. So now let's go ahead and demonstrate recording the voice track. To record the voice track, I only have to hit the start button. And now the song will begin playing in my headphones. And whenever I'm ready to record the voice track, I click the button again, and now I'm recording the voice track. I can talk as long as I want, and now whenever I'm ready to play the next song, Hip to Be Square, I click the button again. Hip to Be Square has a 14-second intro, and there are 10 seconds remaining. You can see the countdown here. This allows me to know how much time I have remaining before the post. When I'm finished talking, I just click Stop VT, and now the voice track has been captured exactly as I recorded it. If I hated that voice track and need to do it again, I can simply click the green button once more and the process will be restarted. The voice track I recorded the first time will be deleted and a new voice track recorded in its place. If I absolutely love the voice track and don't need to do anything else, I can click the next button and that will save this voice track and take me to the next voice track in the playlist if there is one, so I can quickly record the next one. But I also have a third option. That's to open the voice track in a seg editor. That way, if the voice track was acceptable but not perfect, I can open the voice track in the seg editor, and like we saw earlier, I can adjust the timing of these tracks, also the audio level. Hip to Be Square, of course, was a song after my voice track, and it's shown here on the third line. You can see part of it was blue, and that indicates the vocals. So I actually did a pretty decent job of talking up to the vocals, which was completely unplanned, by the way. But if I want to make adjustments, I can do that. Just slide it around however I want, and I can slide the timing of the song after the voice track relative to the voice track. As we saw earlier, I can also adjust the audio levels of the song, and I can also doctor the audio levels of my voice track if I have to. So if I didn't quite have my mic pot up high enough, I can fix it right here. And of course, I can fade out You Spin Me Around Like a Record more harshly as well. Of course, it goes without saying that these edits are used only for this voice track when it plays on the air. I'm not making permanent changes to any of the media assets that are in the system. So if I like it, I can click Accept, and I can save my voice track. One of the other things I'd like to mention is we offer an easy way to find voice tracks in the playlist if they're already scheduled. You may remember that we inserted this voice track into the playlist ourselves because I wanted to demonstrate that functionality. But many of our customers prefer to have voice tracks already scheduled in the playlist, both for the convenience of the DJs, but also to make sure the DJs record the voice tracks at the desired times. So to do that, if I'm a DJ, for example, and I need to voice track later today, I can click and those voice tracks are already in my playlist, I can click the More button and I can click Open Voice Track. Now I choose whichever of my radio stations I want to voice track for, so Wide Orbit 1440, and now I choose the day I want to voice track. And you'll see we show today, tomorrow, and then the next 2 days after that, because that's a convenient way to quickly get to the day you want. But if I click Other Date, I can see a calendar, which allows me to choose any future day because, as I mentioned, WO Automation for Radio allows you to voice track an unlimited number of days in the future. So let's start again. We're going to click More, Open Voice Track, Wide Orbit 1440, Today. And now you can see a new tab has opened in our playlist widget, and it shows only the voice tracks and the items around them. So for example, there was a voice track that appeared at 12:25 this morning, and it was between Venus and Finish What You Started by Van Halen. This voice track appears in white. That means that voice track was recorded. The voice tracks that appear in red are not recorded. So let's scroll down and see, we need to record some voice tracks for this afternoon, maybe at 1:30 in the afternoon. So let's select this voice track. We're going to select it and then edit voice track. And when we do that, now the voice track that we selected in the playlist has appeared in the voice track widget and is ready to be recorded. So that covers the basics of WO Automation for Radio. I certainly hope that was very helpful. And now let's get back to our presentation. So we've seen a little bit about what's in WO Automation for Radio now. And by the way, I just demonstrated WO Automation for Radio version 4. WO Automation for Radio version 4 was a significant re-architecting of our system to allow significant new functionality. And in case you missed the emails and other notifications, that version is available now to all of our customers. And so if you don't have that version and you'd like to have it, just reach out to us and we'll be glad to help you get you upgraded. So what's next? We all know that the world has changed. We all know that worldwide events, regulatory changes, and technology advances have come together to transform our industry. Wide Orbit and our customers will respond together. Everyone knows that COVID-19 has forced radio broadcasters to reconsider whether talent must really work in a radio station. In fact, we haven't been able to do that in a lot of cities this year. So just-in-time voice tracking from home has become a new normal. We even have customers who are doing live shows from home. Of course, in the United States also, radio stations are no longer required to maintain a studio in their city of license. And we all know that technology now makes it possible to operate many radio stations from a central location. So one of the things that Wide Orbit has done to meet this challenge is to introduce AFR Mobile. AFR Mobile is designed to be an application that runs on iOS, and it can run either on an iPad or iPhone. And we're displaying iPad here. Because iPad gives you more room on the screen, we're gonna find it a little easier to display. So you can see that the stack is synchronized between the two. We can see what's on the air on the air is shown on the radio client, and we can also see the same thing in AFR Mobile. If I make a change in the playlist in AFR Mobile, the same change is made in real time back in my radio station on radio client. And I can also use this application to voice track. So for example, if I open up my playlist, I can find any position in the playlist that I want, and I can insert a voice track. Let's find a good place here to do that. Actually, let's do it nearby so it can be easier to see. So we're going to insert a voice track between, here's the hits, and Somebody's Watching Me. So I'll insert that voice track, and now you'll see that voice track has been inserted into the playlist. Now I can record this voice track directly in AFR Mobile, but you can see now that the voice track has been recorded. I can re-record it if I want, and once I save it, that voice track will be saved, and you can see that it becomes immediately available for play on the air. We've had a lot of customers who've really found this to be super useful during this time because it allows you to voice track from anywhere, just from your iOS device. And of course, it gives you full control of your radio station as well. So one of the things I can mention as well is that hotkeys equally work. So now I can select hotkeys on my iOS device. And of course, you saw earlier that we added these voice tracks during the demo. Excuse me, we added these hotkeys during the demo. Now they have appeared in AFR Mobile and are ready to use. And if I play one of the hotkeys in AFR Mobile, you'll see that it also plays in the control room. So there's real synchronization between AFR Mobile and radio client. One of the things our customers have also found is that the iPhone version of AFR Mobile is super convenient because it gives you a radio station in your pocket. We have a new version of AFR Mobile coming out this week that even allows very easy voice tracking from your iPhone. So you have full featured functionality of the automation system from your iPhone. We also offer a quick record feature. A quick record feature allows you to record something in AFR Mobile, either on iPad or iPhone, and quickly upload it to the radio station and insert it directly into the stack. So this is a great feature for stations that do just-in-time news reporting or weather reporting. It allows you to quickly record something from your iOS device and get it on the air from anywhere. Now back to our presentation. One of the other ways that people are able to use WO automation for version 4 is to centralize automation. We know that the elimination of the main studio rule allows radio broadcasters to fully operate their stations from anywhere. And the proliferation of fully integrated audio over IP delivery platforms from companies like Telos, Wheatstone, and others enable robust nationwide audio networks. So it's possible to leverage WO automation for radio in such a manner that you can centralize all of our backend servers in a central location for all of your company's radio station. And then all of your programming is delivered from that central location, but content contribution and control can be accomplished from anywhere. Some of the key features of this functionality are instant voice tracking. Talent in any city can voice track any city without waiting for uploads and downloads, which might have been the case in previous versions of WO automation for radio. We also offer a group voice tracking feature so that a single voice track can be recorded once and played on multiple similarly formatted stations. But then you can also have some voice tracks in the hour that are customized and market specific so that you have a local sound in each market while gaining efficiencies by sharing some voice tracks across the hour. Additional playlist flexibility is possible too. Similarly formatted stations can share some music and voice tracks while airing market specific voice tracks and other content. It allows you to customize based on regional preferences and variances in spot loads too. In terms of live shows, any talent in any city can seamlessly perform a live show on any station, and the same studio can be immediately reused to run a show on a different station in a completely different place. It allows you to realize new efficiencies in production as well. All content can be recorded once, and you can use it on all of your stations immediately. We also offer a feature called Leader Follower, and this feature has been in our system for a long time, but when you're using it with a centralized automation system, it allows you to easily simulcast live content on multiple stations and then seamlessly insert local imaging and spots. So now we've looked a little bit about what has been features of our existing platform. So now let's take a little look at what's coming up in future versions of WO automation for radio. We have begun working on WO automation for radio version 5. WO automation for radio version 5 will introduce a new application called the Universal Radio Client. The Universal Radio Client will be the same radio client that we looked at a moment ago. You'll be able to install it on any machine, even if it's outside your radio station or far away from your radio station. And the idea is that you'll be able to install it on a machine, for example, at home. And you'll be able to use your local audio inputs and outputs on the computer you have, for example, at home, to record voice tracks, to preview, to record content into the system that's not voice tracks. You can do everything you could do as if you were in the radio station directly through the Universal Radio Client. And it supports Mac OS, Windows, or Linux equally. I'm showing this to you today on a Mac, as you may have noticed. And so I'm using our radio client here on Mac OS today. We intend to fully support this in version 5 so that people who have computers at home that are not Windows will be able to use the Universal Radio Client. Of course, a key component of the Universal Radio Client will be for you to have an uncompromised voice track experience at home. You'll be able to voice track any station with hotkeys and seg editing, all the features that you would have if you were in the radio station. So Universal Radio Client really brings full control of all functionality to wherever you are. Additionally, WO Automation for Radio version 5 Universal Client is not browser-based. We've looked in the past at building browser-based clients, and we've determined that the risk associated with it makes us uncomfortable because browsers can be updated by Microsoft, Google, any technology partner at any time, and potentially break something and result in an emergency for both our customers and Wide Orbit. That's why the Universal Radio Client is an installed app, and that's why AFR Mobile is a downloadable app rather than something that's browser-based. You have no functionality compromises. So WO automation for radio is scalable, stable, and robust. Broadcasters of all sizes rely on WO automation for radio. We're ready for tomorrow. We will grow with you as your needs change. So give us a call today to help you get started. We can also give you pricing for Universal Radio Client. If you give us a call, we're happy to help you figure out and plan your upgrade to version 5 when it is ready.
I want to thank you for joining us today. If you think of questions later or you'd like additional information, you can contact Doug directly, or you can go to www.wideorbit.com and click the Contact Us button, fill out the tiny little bit of information requested, and we'll be in touch with you. So that wraps our presentation for today. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you all very much.